Hello there. My name is Grace Bukachi, and you're watching CITAM Church Online. Something happened to me recently. I was with my parents in hospital, and my sister had stepped aside, and my mom had stepped aside, and my dad said, I need to use the bathroom. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to go there. Then I walked with him and then said, it is there. I'd like to introduce my guest, Agnes. Please introduce yourself. Welcome to CITAM Church Online.
Thank you, Reverend Grace. It's such an honor to be with you again. And yes, we were together on that day.
Yeah.
And that was the genesis of this conversation. My name is Agnes Maina. Depending on how you've interacted with me, I wear very many hats.
Yes.
I am a pastor at Wisdom Sanctuary in Thika.
Amen.
Together with my husband, Bishop James G. Maina. I am also the head of operations for Twinkle Pharmacy and Laboratory Services Limited, which is at 40 Suites in Upper Hill. And that's where we met with Reverend Grace.
Yes.
So in terms of training in the marketplace, I do head operations. I'm an operations specialist, but with a background in pharmacy, having practiced for over 25 years.
Wow, and you look like just 17. Lovely.
Yes.
Wow.
That we want to pick up this conversation because we realize there's a need.
Yes.
There's a need to talk about, demystify the myths around such awkward moments when you're handling or you're a caregiver to aging parents, siblings, etc. So over to you, Reverend Grace.
You know, at the point when I told you we had already come back, and it's important that you note that I took my dad toward the direction. Then I quickly got into the ladies, and I found the lady who was cleaning and the gentleman. I said, please go help my dad in the next room. And I told you afterwards, like, oh, I had never been in that scenario. I've taken dad to hospital many times, but when the nurses and the medics come into the room, we all leave and leave my mom.
Yes.
But my sister had prepared me, and she had said he might just stand up and say he wants to use the bathroom. So show him what the direction is. But the awkward moment for me was like, I'm in my 50s. I have never been in this scenario. I am like, Lord, what do you do?
Yes. And thank God that it's happening in your 50s. Remember that there's people in their tender ages, they've had to handle parents who are not well.
Imagine.
Because we do not determine when we get sick or get
I know.
It just happens.
Yes.
And I think it's very important that we start to, help people understand
and
walk through those awkward moments.
Yes, and for me, I think also of a son who has to take care of a mom, a mother who's ailing. So it can be either or a sibling, or a very close relative. And there's a boundary line we don't cross. Help me understand, from the medical world, the trained world, from my chaplaincy area, I am going out to give care.
Yes.
And I'm going up to give spiritual care and nurture. But here is a real life situation, and this is my father. What I may not have the resources to employ a live-in male nurse for him.
Yeah. So let's go back to the context of the Bible, and let's pull out the story of Noah and his 3 sons. I believe that's Genesis 9.
Yes, it is.
And when we look at that story, I was just meditating on that because it will help us shape this conversation. Noah was drunk.
Yes.
And one of his sons, called Ham, decided to, bumped into him in his drunken state.
Yes.
And then went and reported to his brothers. And I can imagine the kind of conversation he was having with his brothers. And the other 2 brothers, Shem and Japheth, decided to pull the sheet and walk backwards and not look at the father's
nakedness.
Yeah, and thus Ham ended up being cursed, and Shem and Japheth were commended for what they did. So, as you rightly put it, there are boundaries as we're taking care of the people who are close to us that we must always maintain.
Yes.
When you're in that moment and your dad and you're a girl is being taken care of in a hospital setup, then you need to walk out.
Yes.
Really, you don't need to go through the process of your father. Or vice versa. You're a son and it's your mom who's being checked. I think it's so critical for you to walk out and allow the medical professionals to do what they need to do and give you a debrief of what they're finding. later on, that gives you that sense of even calmness.
Yes.
I didn't have to go through that.
Yes.
Because the perception of the person after the incident
Yes.
can be quite
Yes.
changing.
Yes.
It can cause you to change how you look at your parents.
Yes.
You perceive them in one way, but now here is a certain situation that comes in and causes you to look at them differently. So in that story of Noah,
yes,
one of the critical things I want to say is that the position of your heart
yes,
really matters.
Yes.
I believe Ham's curse came because...
And his son Canaan. Yes.
Yeah, they ended up being cursed.
Imagine.
Because the posture of his heart was not right. And we'll talk about this later on, about when you're in a catch-22, what do you do? So going back, we need to say that, to establish that when you have a caregiver, when you're endured to pull in somebody who's trained or somebody of the same gender, they might just have bare minimum training, or like you're giving me a story of somebody who the gardener was a friend to the father, and so they decided to pull him out of the garden and just capacity build him to take care of the dad because he was unwell. That works. Yeah. Because you don't have to be the one directly caregiving.
Absolutely.
You can train somebody.
Absolutely. Now, with our current state of raising, you and I are raising Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, and you've taught them to respect you, you've taught them to love you. And here is a scenario where, God forbid, not you, but someone close, or you are a Gen Z watching us, or a Gen Alpha, and you're taking care of an ailing parent, and that awkward moment arises. The pain of seeing your parent or your sibling, and you're of a different gender, in pain, sick, unwell. This was a person who was strong and able to do so much, and now you have to be the one, the place of covering. I like the fact that the Shem and Japheth covered their father. The Bible says they even looked the other side. It even says they put the sheet on their shoulder and moved backward.
Very important.
And then it says that when the father woke up and found out, that's when he, in his finding out that these guys were cast. How do we help that viewer who's watching to show respect, even to the point that even as you take them to hospital, if you have someone who can, like a neighbor or someone you trust, they can come cover your parent, cover your sibling, so you're not seeing their nakedness. You're able to hold them in the esteem and the worth to the point of death, should it come to that place. But you're walking honorably, the place of honor, and I guess we will have time. But feel free to go there.
So just to answer that briefly.
Yes.
We might not give all the answers, but we just want to trigger a thought process.
Yes.
I believe one of the things that is important is what you say.
Yes.
And here is Ham. We can see critically that he went and spoke about his dad's nakedness to his brothers, and that earned him a curse. What you say is so important. Don't go backbiting or making even that person feel bad that they were unwell. You can say certain things and the person looks like, I'm a bad sinner, but perhaps it just came on, or something happened. Maybe they're an accident and now they are in a wheelchair permanently. Yes. You need to be somebody who encourages them. I want to put something out there that when you're taking care of somebody who's very close, it is extremely draining.
It is. Oh, you could say that again.
Oh, yes. And we must put a caveat that you cannot give from an empty cup. You as a caregiver, in whatever stage you find yourself, you must keep filling in yourself with the word, filling in yourself with worship, so that you can continue caregiving.
And surrounding yourself with friends who add and not take away.
Yes. And also having a kind of support group.
Yes.
People who have walked the journey, because sometimes, people will give you ideas.
Absolutely. Everybody has ideas.
What I'm going through.
I know.
And so you need people who have walked a similar journey. If you can find a support group to help you, especially for terminally ill patients. They normally do have support groups, and you can be directed to one.
Yes.
So that you're in a community that is helping you build yourself up.
Yes.
Because it is very draining emotionally, physically. You might need to do the hospital visit.
Yes.
They might be admitted, and so you're spending so much time and resources. So you need to be on top of the game also as a person.
Wonderful. I want to end this on this note.
Yeah.
The first commandment that comes with a promise.
Yeah.
Honor your father and your mother, that you may live.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Remain in the honoring posture.
Yes,
in those
absolutely.
awkward moments.
Your heart position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The place of knowing your parents, you're taking care of them. They are old, they are perhaps, they have their own challenges,
Yes.
but honor them. Honor is a word, is a major form of love.
Yes.
I'm trying not to go into the descriptive of what honor is,
Yes.
but it's a place of love.
Caregiving is not just about you doing it as a chore. It's actually a calling that
Yes.
has a reward.
Exactly.
I know of someone, sorry, let me just give this story quickly.
Yes.
I know of somebody who was a stepdaughter,
Yes.
but took care of the father
Wow.
until his dying moments. The property was given out to her.
What? Honor.
Yes.
She honored?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Please tell us in the comment section
Yes.
in this video. Kindly tell us what your experience has been.
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to CITAM Church Online. But can you share with us maybe your awkward moments? Because they could be very different from what we are sharing.
Yes.
And in the next video, we will address a few other awkward moment issues that is important for us. But I want you to know that we want to encourage you
Yes.
in your caregiving journey to remain strong.
Yes.
Not by might, not in your own power or the information everybody else is giving you, but what the Lord leads you, the Spirit of God, He will strengthen you. See you next time on CITAM Church Online.